For over 3 decades, Johnny Carson invited America's biggest stars into our living rooms, making us feel as if we were sipping coffee with old friends. His warm smile, effortless humor, and magnetic charm transformed The Tonight Show into a comforting ritual, a window into the lives of our favorite entertainers. But behind the laughter, behind the seemingly casual conversations, some of Carson's guests were walking toward fates so bizarre, so unexplained, that they continue to baffle investigators and haunt Hollywood historians decades later. There's something undeniably unsettling about revisiting these interviews today. You see these vibrant, talented people brimming with life, completely unaware of the dark and often tragic circumstances that would soon engulf them. The very contrast between the controlled, brightly lit safety of Carson's stage and the chaos of their final moments creates a tension that is impossible to ignore. In the next few minutes, we'll explore 7 of Carson's most memorable guests whose lives ended in mysterious ways, stories filled with intrigue, tragedy, and unanswered questions. Each case is more than just a death. It's a haunting glimpse into the fragility of fame, the hidden darkness behind public personas, and the chilling coincidences that sometimes seem too strange to be real. 1. Carol Wayne, the bubbly matinee lady lost to the sea. To millions of Tonight Show viewers in the 1970s and early 1980s, Carol Wayne was instantly recognizable as the ditzy, buxom matinee lady from Art Fern's Tea Time movie sketches. With her breathless delivery and wide-eyed innocence, she was the perfect foil for Carson's sly humor. But behind the laughter, Wayne's life was anything but idyllic. A comedy historian once explained that Wayne wasn't just a pretty face, she had impeccable comic timing and a kind of vulnerability that made Carson's sleazy Art Fern character both believable and hilarious. Yet behind the scenes, Wayne struggled with financial instability, troubled relationships, and an increasing dependency on alcohol and drugs. In 1982, when Carson shortened The Tonight Show from 90 to 60 minutes, Wayne lost her primary source of income, the very sketches that had made her a household name. Her life, already fragile, became even more precarious. 3 years later, in January 1985, Wayne traveled to the Mexican resort town of Manzanillo with a companion named Edward Durson. After an argument on January 10th, Durson said Wayne left their hotel room for a walk along the beach and never returned. 3 days later, local fishermen discovered her body floating in shallow waters. She was 42. The circumstances immediately raised suspicions. Wayne reportedly feared water and could not swim, yet drowned in calm, shallow waters. Durson left Mexico almost immediately before her body was even found. No thorough autopsy was conducted, and crucial evidence was never collected. Adding a chilling layer of coincidence, Durson had been present at another mysterious death in 1974. The fall of Diane Linkletter, daughter of entertainer Art Linkletter, who plunged from a 6th-floor window. Wayne's death, tragic and shrouded in uncertainty, stands in stark contrast to the vibrant, comedic character she brought to life on Carson's stage. Her story is a haunting reminder of how fragile life can be, even for those who appear to be living in the spotlight. 2. Bob Crane, Hogan's Heroes and a Hidden Life. Bob Crane, star of Hogan's Heroes, appeared charming, quick-witted, and all-American on Carson's couch. Television audiences loved his mischievous charm and his ability to balance wholesomeness with an edge that felt modern for the 1960s. But Crane's private life was a stark contrast to his public image, a hidden world of obsession that would ultimately play a role in his violent death. In June 1978, Crane was found bludgeoned to death in his Scottsdale, Arizona apartment. The suspected murder weapon? A camera tripod, ironically tied to his obsession with recording his sexual encounters. Investigators discovered hundreds of photos and videos documenting Crane's secret life, including explicit material with countless women. Central to this story was his friendship with John Henry Carpenter, a Sony sales manager who had introduced him to early video technology. Despite circumstantial evidence pointing toward Carpenter, including blood in his rental car matching Crane's rare blood type, the investigation struggled with primitive forensic techniques and a deeply flawed legal process. After years of maneuvering, Carpenter was acquitted in 1994, 16 years after the murder, maintaining his innocence until his death in 1998. What makes Crane's story particularly unsettling is how his death transformed his legacy. Once celebrated as a television icon, his murder revealed the secret life that had been hidden behind his charming exterior. Even decades later, questions linger. Who killed Bob Crane? And why did his obsession with private pleasure make him so vulnerable? 3. Sam Cooke, a voice silenced too soon. Sam Cooke appeared on The Tonight Show on February 7, 1964, performing A Change Is Going to Come, a civil rights anthem that reflected his personal experiences with segregation. That night marked a turning point in American music history. Cooke was moving beyond commercial hits towards socially conscious artistry. NBC, however, taped over the episode, erasing this historic moment. Just 10 months later, on December 11, 1964, Cooke was killed under circumstances so bizarre that debates continue to this day. According to official reports, Cooke was shot by a motel manager after an altercation. But the evidence raises serious questions. His body bore signs of severe beating, the key witnesses had questionable credibility, and the inquest lasted only 30 minutes. Cooke had recently gained unprecedented control over his music and publishing rights and had been outspoken on civil rights. His death, abrupt and poorly investigated, robbed him of both his life and the opportunity to reshape American culture further. In many ways, Cooke's death symbolizes not just a personal tragedy, but a broader historical injustice. 4. Natalie Wood, Dark Water on Catalina. Natalie Wood, one of Hollywood's brightest stars, captivated Carson's audiences with her luminous presence, distinctive voice, and remarkable ability to transition from child actor to adult leading lady. But her life ended in an enigma that Hollywood still debates today. On November 28, 1981, Wood was aboard the yacht Splendor off California's Catalina Island with her husband, Robert Wagner, actor Christopher Walken, and the boat's captain, Dennis Davern. Sometime that night, she ended up in the ocean. Initially ruled an accidental drowning, the case was complicated by her documented fear of dark water, inconsistent witness accounts, and evidence suggesting a possible altercation with Wagner. In 2011, nearly 30 years later, the case was reopened. By 2018, Wagner was officially named a person of interest. The combination of celebrity, intimacy, and an isolated setting created a tragic, closed-room mystery, a puzzle that remains unresolved. Natalie Wood's death shows that even the most seemingly secure lives can end in inexplicable tragedy. 5. Dorothy Kilgallen, the reporter who knew too much. Dorothy Kilgallen, a journalist of immense influence, brought credibility and gravitas to Carson's show. As a columnist, radio host, and panelist on What's My Line, she wielded authority few women of her era could match. Yet her pursuit of truth may have contributed to her untimely death. On November 8, 1965, Kilgallen was found dead in her Manhattan home. She had been investigating the Kennedy assassination and was on the verge of publishing information that could have challenged official narratives. Her death was ruled accidental, caused by alcohol and barbiturates, but no autopsy was performed, toxicology samples were destroyed, and her crucial research files vanished. Kilgallen's story is a stark reminder that in a world of power and secrecy, even the most formidable individuals can be silenced. Her legacy lives not only in her journalism, but in the enduring mystery surrounding her death. 6. Peter Ivers, the new wave visionary silenced. Peter Ivers, Harvard-educated musician and host of the cult show New Wave Theater, bridged the gap between Carson's mainstream audience and underground art and music scenes. On television, he introduced Americans to bands and ideas considered avant-garde, shaping cultural tastes in ways few realized at the time. On March 3, 1983, Ivers was found bludgeoned to death in his Los Angeles apartment. There were no signs of forced entry, suggesting he knew his killer. The LAPD's mishandling of the scene, allowing friends to walk through and failing to secure fingerprints, meant critical evidence was lost. The brutality of his death contrasted sharply with his gentle, intellectual persona. Motive and suspect remain unknown, leaving Ivers's death as one of Los Angeles's most perplexing unsolved murders, a tragic echo of a brilliant boundary-pushing life cut short. 7. David Carradine death in Bangkok. David Carradine, known for his role as the Shaolin monk Kei Chong in Kung Fu, was a cultural hybrid, a Hollywood scion who embodied Eastern philosophy on screen. On Carson's couch, he was calm, measured, and contemplative, an image that made the circumstances of his death all the more shocking. On June 3, 2009, Carradine was found dead in a Bangkok hotel closet. Initial reports suggested accidental death from autoerotic asphyxiation, but evidence complicated that narrative. His hands were bound behind his back, making self-strangulation nearly impossible. With foreign jurisdiction, unusual circumstances, and limited access for outside investigators, the truth remains elusive. Carradine's death serves as a reminder of how public image and private life can diverge in ways we may never fully understand. These 7 stories, Carol Wayne, Bob Crane, Sam Cooke, Natalie Wood, Dorothy Kilgallen, Peter Ivers, and David Carradine, share more than celebrity status. They are stories of life and death, of control and chaos, of fame that both shields and exposes. On Carson's stage, these guests were vibrant, articulate, fully in command of their image. Offstage, fate was indifferent to their charisma or talent. Watching their interviews today feels almost like reviewing evidence in an ongoing investigation, moments frozen in time, hinting at mysteries that may never be solved. Their deaths force us to confront uncomfortable truths about power, privilege, and vulnerability. Fame does not guarantee safety. Recognition does not prevent tragedy. And no matter how well someone curates their public life, the hidden complexities of private existence can still end in ways the world cannot predict. These stories leave us with lingering questions, unsolved puzzles, and a haunting awareness that even our most beloved stars were not immune to the mysterious forces of life and death.